you're just playing the game. And if you lose, you're not in danger. Like you're chilling. Nothing bad is gonna happen to you.
Wait a minute.
Where you going? Don't you ignore me. This is a perfectly good moment to throw your life away.
Alright, I think this is a good time to start the, I don't know what to call it, maybe a little seminar. And this is only gonna be part 1 of the whole fighting game psychology discussions. In this first part, I want to discuss psychology before even getting into the game, right? I mean, it's gonna involve aspects about the game, but we're not even gonna talk about fighting game mechanic related psychology or psychology like dynamics between you and your opponent. We're not even gonna get into that. Like, we're gonna discuss like way before that, like the most important things, right? If we're talking about psychology, what do you guys think is like the biggest barrier for a fighting game player to perform and to improve? What do you guys think it is? Understanding that you need to lose to get better. Yeah, I guess that ties into it. So the most important thing in fighting game psychology that's gonna determine whether your performance in game in the short term or the whole trajectory of your career in the long term, your whole improvement curve, everything is gonna be your ego. Whether you have a healthy ego or an unhealthy ego. That's the most important thing. That's like number 1, the base of the pyramid, right? If we had like a Maslow pyramid of the most important aspect of fighting game psychology that you need in check, ego is gonna be the base. Like, if that foundation is shaken or is not stable, everything will collapse. Now, what is ego? You will ask me, right? What is ego if we look at it? And what is it? What does it do? Is it important? Do we need it? Is it bad? Should we completely kill ego when we play fighting games and not have an ego at all? Is that the way to go? Well, ego is our self-image. It's how we view ourselves, right? And at its core, like, ego is important. It's like your self-preservation mechanism, right? And in this context, it is important. Like, your ego is gonna determine many things. It's gonna I guess determine like your drive, you know, for the game, like your ambition, like your desire to be capable, to be respected, to be effective. It's what's gonna make you care about doing something well instead of just like settling for mediocrity, right? That's like one of the good things about having an ego. Ego is important because it will provide you with self-respect, and that is gonna set standards, and it's gonna give you that resilience, right? It's gonna give you that little voice that says, I refuse to accept being terrible at this, or I'm going to put in the lab work because I value my own standard of execution and performing, right? That's another thing ego is gonna, you know, be good for. It's not always a bad thing. And you also have another thing. Ego is gonna, a positive thing that's gonna come from ego. It's like the competitive spark. It's like your goal orientation, right? Like in sports psychology, for example, like ego orientation, for example, is your desire to test your skill against others and demonstrate superiority. It provides you that killer instinct, if you call it. So ego is very, very important. Without an ego, like, you could say a player lacks teeth, right? They become passive, like indifferent to losing. That makes sense. They lack that grit that's required to, like, you know, I don't know, spend hundreds of hours like mastering links or studying frame data and you name it. So we've established what the pros are of ego and what positive things it can bring. So killing your ego in fighting games is counterproductive, right? What's the bad kind of ego? And why do we have like bad kind of egos in fighting games for some people, and how it affects them? I guess suppress is a way to call it. It's more like you need to question your own perspective. It's almost like you need to rethink your whole life, right? Here's the thing. Fighting games are brutal, right? Because the fighting games give you a very hard feedback loop. Like, it's a 1v1 game where only your performance matters against your opponents. It's like a direct ego check, right? So it's not like team games where like you have this like in psychology we call it like diffusion of responsibility, right? If in a League of Legends I lose, I'm not gonna feel like I'm the one that's bad, you know? Maybe it's my team, maybe it's the players, maybe it's the matchmaking that was off, you know? In fighting games, it's much harder to escape being confronted to your ego, to your self-image. So the issue that I believe makes ego unhealthy in fighting games is, I guess it depends, like each people has their own life, you know? A healthy person will have loads of different sources for their ego. Like for example, someone could say, I'm good at my job, I'm a good friend, I'm a good, I don't know, husband, I'm a good, you name it, I'm good at sports. You know, they're gonna derive their ego from all sorts of different things. And fighting games is only one of them. Like the fighting game, being bad at a fighting game is not gonna make them feel like they're, how do you say, like they're all of a sudden they're worthless, if that makes sense. That's the thing. But some people, I don't know, it could be due to many factors. It could be due to how they use the game. Some people use the game as just a hobby for fun. Some use it as an escape where they actually avoid other problems. You know, it can be all sorts of things where the game takes a bigger proportion of their self-fulfillment, if that makes sense, right? Now, in psychology, there's this theory. I mean, this theory tries to explain this phenomenon, and it's called the loss aversion theory, right? And it's this concept where a loss will feel twice as bad as how good a win will feel. And this phenomenon has been studied, and it has been proven specifically in high pressure situations, or high stakes situations. It's a very proven phenomenon. Now, this applies to even people with a healthy ego, right? Losing hurts twice as much as winning does. That's like we can say it's established, right? But if ego is added in the mix, like if you have an unhealthy ego, because not only you have the loss in itself that you lose, but you also have the impact it's gonna have on your ego, and that can even like multiply things. So a loss is gonna feel like, I don't know, 10 times worse as bad as a win would feel good. How your ego ties into something, like in this instance, when we talk about fighting games, how your ego is gonna tie into it is the more it's tied into it and the more it depends on it, the worse a loss is gonna feel. And this is gonna create a lot of a big cascade of negative effects that will derive from this whole like losing, feeling bad, and putting your ego in danger. You have an unhealthy connection with the game and your ego. So the first one of the first symptoms of an unhealthy ego when you play a game is you're gonna be thinking about it, right? It's gonna be on the back of your mind while you play, and it's gonna hijack what we call your working memory, right? In psychology, right? For example, You're gonna be playing against someone. You're gonna be playing, and you're like, damn, I can't lose to this guy. He's not nowhere near as good as me. I can't believe I'm struggling this much. Or you have all these thoughts in your head that a healthy player with a healthy ego in relation to the game won't have. And what this implies is that your working memory is being hijacked, right? The brain diverts a massive chunk of your limited working memory away from the game, whether tracking your data or your reaction time, your mental stack, reading patterns, and it's gonna redirect it towards like irrelevant worries, you know?
You don't even know what the hell a frame trap is. Random ass shit. Random. Fuck off me, you fucking scrub. Another random combo. Look at this. I'm losing to someone who sucks at fighting games. How? Oh yeah, it's 5.
Like, all of these are gonna affect your performance. You know, you're gonna be worried about your self-esteem. You like managing your anxiety about looking foolish. You know, so that's number one. It's gonna be how an unhealthy ego is gonna, you know, hijack your working memory. Like this is a direct, chain reaction. Right? I'm not even talking long term. Here I'm talking directly as you play. That's gonna be one of the consequences, right? So another thing, like it's a concept in psychology called ego depletion, right? It's like all of these things that your brain does, right, to suppress those negative feelings. Like for example, if I play again, I don't know, let's say someone plays against Unbeatable. It's a good example. And they're like, oh, I can't lose, or oh, I have to win, right? These thoughts, whether thoughts or even sets of behaviors that the player exhibits to appear unfazed by losing, or how like all these coping strategies, like for example, if it's in a crowd, there are spectators and I have to appear like I'm not affected. Like all of these are called suppression mechanisms. So studies have shown that this process of like suppressing those feelings, like they don't help. It only makes it non-visible to the others. So you only get better at hiding how you feel, but studies have shown that it makes the feeling worse internally. But by doing this, like you're only gonna make it worse. Like your heart rate, your blood pressure, like your cortisol retention. Like the more energy you spend to try to suppress these feelings, the worse it's gonna get. And then that's a lot of energy spent and you're gonna fatigue quicker. So let's say a good player that goes to a local and their ego comes to kick in and they're like, oh, this is a small local, I'm a major caliber tournament player, I can't lose here. Like over a long tournament with, you know, multiple stages and all, if they're gonna be thinking about these things like every game throughout the whole tournament, they're gonna be fatigued. You're gonna be fatigued. So that's ego depletion. All the mechanisms you use to whether try and feel better or hide how you're feeling or appear unfazed, like all those, they're gonna make you feel worse. So ultimately, what can you do to like not have to deal with this situation? Well, ultimately, you're gonna have to do some introspection, right? You're gonna have to think about how you feel and think about how you perceive the game and really, you know, do a deeper work. That's why it's very hard for someone that, you know, has been dealing with this to get out of it, because it really takes some work, you know, some eternal work. That's one of the solutions, right? I'm not saying, if you have if you go for therapy, but you know. And why not? Why not? If it helps, right? If you look at in other more developed esports field, or even in chess, they all have coaches, psychologists. Now, the more long-term consequence of having an unhealthy ego in relation to a game, to a fighting game, it's gonna be confirmation bias. This is like the worst one. Confirmation bias is gonna work in a way as to where every time you lose, or every time your ego is in check, you're gonna attribute those like unfortunate results to external factors. This is a very frequent one. And by the way, first of all, I want to say a lot of these, they don't necessarily happen on a conscious level. I want you to be aware of that, right? Sometimes they happen subconsciously, like it's a defense mechanism after all, right? If, for example, let's say I play a match, right? I play a match, I'm Honda against Ryu, and so during the match, I jump on Ryu 5 times, I get anti-aired 4 times, but on the 5th time, where my jump connected, I dropped a combo and then I got DP during my combo and then I died. You could go 2 routes about it. The healthier route would be, okay, I dropped the round, but if we look at it like more in depth, I probably lost the round because my health bar was depleted from all of these anti-air DPs, right? But instead, what some of people that have confirmation bias, what would they would do is that, oh, I lost because I dropped my combo and because of lag, because this guy's a masher. Like, you know, I don't know. It could be like, look at this scrub game. You would never win a game off of me in third strike. You know, it can go many ways. You can go many ways. Like, and what this means is if you cannot admit mistakes within yourself, you're not going to be able to fix them, right?
I still can't get out of any of this. I did level 1 super right there. That was level 1 super. It gives me standing jab. I can't do anything. It's just a pattern. People have mastered these online fucking patterns. I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything. It's an online safe pattern. I can't get out of it.
If a player highlights an area of weakness that I have in my gameplay, and I'm not going to accept it, how am I supposed to improve? So here, I detailed a few ways like this unhealthy ego negatively affects you in-game and in your progression long-term. But we also need to talk about how it affects you even in relation to your hobby. Because there's another side of the same coin, and it's a very documented phenomenon in psychology, but this is called self-handicapping. It's all sorts of mechanisms where you don't directly expose yourself to the source, or where you don't expose your ego. You don't put yourself at risk. Like in fighting games, it could present itself under many forms. Like, for example, character hopping. Like, I play the whole cast, you know? So I can claim the prestige of being a high-level player without ever having to submit myself to the brutal ego checking of actually having to master a single matchup and show my skill against the same matchup or the same player with you know, the same character. Like that's a thing. A lot of people character hop. A lot of the time it can be for themselves, you know? Oh, I lost with this character, but this is not the character I would play in this matchup. Let me try this one. Oh, I won, see? Bam. Like I said, on an unconscious level. A lot of the time, these coping mechanisms are used to trick themselves first before tricking the, you know, the surroundings. Yeah, that's something, John, that is called acclaimed self-handicap. You know? That is also something that has been documented in studies. Like, for example, even unconsciously, a player will sit at the setup and be like, I haven't played in 2 weeks, but I'll do my best. What does that statement achieve, for example? It is a defense mechanism. If the player wins, he's a genius, hasn't played in 2 weeks, and he's playing cold and he still won. But if he loses, then, you know, he's just warming up. He isn't warmed up. It's called avoidance motivation. Avoiding looking bad, you know? Another way someone in fighting games could go about their, where this phenomenon is highlighted is, for example, someone will play low tier as a way to soothe themselves, for example. Someone will play low tier and be like, well, if I win with a low tier character, I'm a genius, but if I lose, it's a low tier character. That's another way. This happens a lot in many different fields. Like, it's very documented. Like, it can happen in all sorts of different ways. It all converges down to the same thing. It's the same fear. And the ultimate fear for someone with an unhealthy ego in relation to the game is finding out they're not as good as they want to be. Now, I want to talk about fear, right? And to talk about fear, I want to quote someone I respect a lot in... I like a lot, really, how this person, like, worded it. I'm going to play you guys the clip, actually. So, this guy that you're going to hear, his name is Alex Honnold. And Alex Honnold is a rock climber. But what sets this rock climber apart from other rock climbers is this guy will do very difficult rock climbing routes, right? But he will do them without any safety equipment. It's a discipline called free soloing, right? This guy has free soloed El Capitan, which is one of the most difficult routes. Like, it's a very difficult route, even with people that have like safety equipment for rock climbing, right? And when this guy has been asked about fear, he said something very, very interesting. Let me play it out.
When was the last time most people were actually afraid? You know, like, when's the last time people faced actual fear, particularly physical danger, like anything where they could actually get hurt? I think that if you don't experience real fear from time to time, you don't experience real danger and other things, then your mind just sort of creates fears out of nothing. I mean, like, I see that, like, when I travel, like when I'm in airports, I always hear people like stressing the travel experience. Like, oh, what do we do with security? What do we do here? Like, what if we miss the flight? And you're like, chill. You know, you're in a climate controlled airport. There's food everywhere. There's abundance all around you. Like, what if you show up 3 hours late? Like, who cares? You know, like, how could you get so worked up about things that do not matter?
See, and the reason I'm bringing this clip, it's very interesting how I'm not saying go do extreme things where you feel real danger and you fear for your life so you can come back and play Street Fighter and play well, right? But hearing this from someone that does like free soloing, I feel like it puts things into perspective as to you're just playing the game, right? You're just playing the game, and if you lose, you're not in danger. Like, you're chilling. Nothing bad is gonna happen to you. But here, like, we're going away from ego, and we're jumping into like emotional regulation. So let's move chapters. Like,